You build a fence or a deck or set a row of posts, good, honest wood, and you are proud of it. And then a few short years go by and you see it going gray and soft, the posts rotting away at the ground line, the boards turning punky and weak, and before long, the whole thing is failing and must be torn out and built again. Most folks figure that is just the way of it. That outdoor wood rots, and there is nothing to be done but replace it every so often or pay dear for the special treated lumber or the plastic boards. But here is the truth the old farmers knew. With a few simple old methods costing little or nothing, you can make your outdoor wood last not 5 years, not 10, but 50, 100 years and more. Last a lifetime, and your children's lifetime. The old barns and fences standing sound after a century are the proof of it. Today I am going to show you how they did it. I am Elias, and I keep up this Lancaster County place with my own hands, the way my people always have. And out here, a fence or a barn must last, for we cannot be tearing them down and building anew every few years. The old people built things to last generations, and they had the knowing to make plain wood stand 100 years against the weather. Now I will tell you plain. There are some folks who will tell you to soak your wood and your posts in used motor oil and diesel fuel to preserve them. And I will not tell you to do that, for that is a poison you do not want soaking into the ground where your garden grows, and your well draws, and your children play. And in many places it is against the law. Besides, for good reason. The old farmers had cleaner ways, better ways that did not foul their own land. And those are the ways I will give you, for they are the true old methods and they last just as long. Let me tell you about a fence on my grandfather's place that taught me all this. There was a line of locust posts along the lane that my grandfather always told me his own grandfather had set before the war generations back, and they were standing yet gray and hard as iron when I was a boy. And for all I know, some stand yet today. 100 years and more in the ground those posts and still sound. As a boy, I could not fathom it how a wooden post stuck in the wet ground could outlast 3 generations of men when I had seen other posts rot through in a few short years. And my grandfather showed me. He showed me the locust wood, hard and oily and rot by its nature. He showed me how the bottoms had been charred black in a fire before setting. He showed me how the ground was mounded away from each one. None of it cost a penny, he said. It was just the knowing. The way you set a post to last a lifetime instead of a few seasons. That knowing is what I want to hand you today, for it is nearly lost, and it is worth more than any product on a shelf. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book at eliasodar.com. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. So before the methods, you must understand the one true enemy of outdoor wood. For once you see it, every one of these methods makes plain sense. The enemy is water. It is not the sun, not the cold, not the wind, not even the bugs. First and foremost, it is the water. Wood that stays dry lasts near forever. And there are timbers in old dry barns sound as the day they were cut 300 years ago. But wood that stays wet rots, for the wet is what breeds the rot fungus that eats the wood, and the wet is what draws the wood-boring bugs that finish it off. So the whole secret of making wood last, every method I will give you, comes down to one thing: keeping the water off and out of the wood, or keeping the wood dry enough that the rot cannot get a hold. Master that one idea, and you can make any wood last. So let us go through the ways the old people kept their wood dry. The first method, and it is the cleverest and the most overlooked, is to put a roof on it. Now that sounds a strange thing to say of a fence, but hear me. The old builders, and you see this beautifully in the old fences and gates of Japan that have stood for centuries, would put a little roof, a cap, a slanted board, right along the top of a fence or over a post or a gate. Why? Because the top end of a post or a board, the end grain, the cut end, drinks up water like a straw, far worse than the sides do. And a fence with its top exposed to every rain soaks that water down into itself and rots from the top down and at every post top. But cap that fence with a little roof board slanted to shed the rain off to the side, and the rain never sits on the wood at all. It runs right off, and the wood beneath stays dry and sound for generations. The same for a single post. A little cap or a slanted cut on top, so the water sheds off rather than soaking in. It is the simplest thing in the world, a board laid along the top, and it may be the single greatest thing you can do to make a fence last. The old farmers capped their posts and roofed their fences, and that is a chief reason the old ones still stand. And understand the why of the end grain, for it is the key to half of all wood rot. A piece of wood is like a bundle of tiny straws all running its length, and the cut end is where all those straws are open, sucking up any water that sits on them, drawing it deep down into the heart of the wood, where it rots from the inside. The long sides shed water far better, for there the straws run sideways and are closed. So it is always the cut ends, the post tops, the board ends that rot first and worst. Knowing that you protect the ends above all, cap them, slant them, paint the cut ends with your oil, keep the rain off them, and you have headed off the worst of the rot. A man who only learns this one thing to protect the end grain will double the life of everything he builds outdoors. The second method is for the most vulnerable spot of all on any post, the place where it meets the ground, for that is where near every fence post rots through and falls. Right at the ground line where the post is wet from the soil below and the rain pooling around it. That is where the rot eats through while the rest of the post stands sound. So the old way is to shed the water away from that spot. When you set a post, you do not leave the ground dished in around it, where water pools and sits against the wood. Instead, you mound the soil, or if you set the post in concrete, you crown that concrete, mounding it up around the post and sloping it down and away like a little hill. So the rain runs off away from the post rather than pooling against it. Water shed away from the base is water that cannot rot the base. A post set with the ground sloped away from it stands far longer than one sitting in a little bowl that catches and holds every rain. The third method is the real old secret, the one that sounds backwards, but is the genuine ancient way to preserve wood, and it is to burn it, to char it. Now you will think me mad burning the very wood you want to save, but hear the sense of it, for it is real, and it is old. When you char the surface of wood, blacken it with fire to a shallow depth. That charred black layer becomes a shell that resists both the water and the rot and the bugs. The char does not soak up water the way raw wood does, and the rot fungus and the wood bugs will not eat that burnt carbon layer. So, a charred post sheds water and turns away the very things that rot it. The old farmers knew this and would char the bottoms of their fence posts, the part that goes in the ground, holding the post end in a fire or burning it with a torch till it was blackened before setting it. That charred bottom resisted the ground rot for decades, and the Japanese made a high art of it, charring whole boards black to side their houses, boards that then last 100 years and more. And it is a beautiful deep black finish besides. And there is a sense to it beyond just the shell, for the char also drives the moisture out of that surface wood and seals it, and a dry sealed surface is no home for the rot. You do not burn it to ash mind, nor weaken the post. You only char the surface. A shallow blackened skin, perhaps a 1/4 inch deep, and the good strong wood is sound beneath it. For a fence post, you char the bottom foot or two, all the part that goes in the ground and a bit above the ground line, for that is where it rots. Some quench it with water after, or brush off the loose ash and oil it. But the char is the heart of it. I will give you the full how-to of charring wood properly in another video, for it deserves its own telling. But know that this is the genuine old free preservative, fire, and it poisons nothing. It is a wonder that the very thing you would think destroys wood, fire used, right, is what makes it last the longest of all, and it costs you nothing but the burning. The fourth method is to choose the right wood to begin with. For some woods are by their own nature far more rot-resistant than others, and the old people knew exactly which to use for posts and outdoor work. The soft pale woods like pine rot quickly in the weather, but certain woods carry their own natural oils and substances that resist the rot for decades, even untreated. The cedar is one, light and rot-resistant, long a favorite for posts and shingles and siding. The black locust is another and a famous one for fence posts. So hard and rot-resistant that the old saying goes, "A locust post will outlast 2 holes," meaning the post stands so long you will dig it up and reset it in a new hole before it rots. And locust posts, set by a grandfather, still stand for the grandson. The Auge orange, the hedge apple, is harder still, near everlasting in the ground. The old oak, the chestnut where it once grew. So if you are setting posts to last, seek out the locust or the cedar or the Auge orange rather than the soft pine, and you are halfway to 100 years before you do another thing. Use the wood the old people used for the job, for they learned over generations which woods last. And here is a thing worth knowing about any wood, that the heartwood, the dark, dense wood from the center of the tree, is far more rot-resistant than the pale sapwood from just under the bark. For the heartwood is the old dead core, full of the tree's own preserving substances, while the sapwood is young and soft and rots quick. So even in a good post, it is the heartwood that lasts, and a post that is all good heartwood outlasts one with much pale sapwood on it. The old timber getters chose their posts for the heartwood, and a true locust or cedar heart post in the ground is about as near to everlasting as wood gets. So, choose the right kind of wood, and choose the good heart of it, and you start with a post that wants to last. The 5th method is to keep the wood up out of the wet wherever you can, off the ground and out of standing water. For wood in the open air, dry and airy, lasts near forever, while wood sitting in wet ground or trapped against wet rots fast. So where you can, you set your wood up off the ground. A deck post up on a bit of stone or a metal base rather than buried in wet soil. A board with an air gap beneath it rather than lying flat on the damp. The old buildings were set up on stone foundations to lift the wood up off the wet ground. And that lifting is a chief reason the old timbers lasted. Air moving all around a piece of wood keeps it dry, and dry wood does not rot. So, lift it, give it air, keep it from sitting trapped against the wet, and it lasts. This is why 2 boards bolted tight face to face rot between them where the wet gets trapped and cannot dry, while the same boards with an air gap between them stay sound. It is why a deck board cups and rots where it lies flat and traps water, and why the old builders left their gaps and their air spaces with care. So in all your building, think where the water will sit and where the air can reach and contrive it, so the wet drains off and away and the air dries every face. Wood that can dry between rains lasts. Wood that stays trapped wet does not. And one more. Season your wood well and dry before you ever build with it or treat it. For green wet wood built up tight will rot from the moisture sealed inside it, and no finish takes well to wet wood. Dry it first, build it dry, keep it dry, and it lasts. And the 6th, for when you do want to put a finish on wood for the weather, use the honest old natural ones rather than the poison. The old people did treat their wood with oils and tars, but with clean natural ones. Boiled linseed oil, which is pressed from the flaxseed, soaks into wood and helps shed water, and has been used to treat and finish wood for centuries. And it is a clean plant oil, not a poison. Pine tar cooked from the pine wood is another genuine old wood preserver brushed on barns and boats and fences for hundreds of years. And the old folk would mix the linseed oil and the pine tar together for a fine traditional wood treatment that protects for years and harms nothing. These want to be renewed every few years as they weather, but they are clean and old and true, and they will not foul your soil nor your water. So if you want a brushed finish, reach for the boiled linseed oil and the pine tar, the honest old preservers, and leave the crankcase oil out of it entirely. A word on using the linseed oil for it goes on best, warmed a little and thinned, soaking it well into the wood and the end grain, especially 2 or 3 coats, letting each soak in and dry before the next. It dries slow, so give it time and sun and one true safety word on it, for I will always tell you the safety. The rags soaked in linseed oil can take fire on their own, as the oil cures by themselves, with no flame. So you never leave a wad of oily rags baldled up, but lay them flat out in the open air to dry hard, or sink them in water before you throw them away. Mind that. And the linseed oil is a fine, clean, old finish. The pine tar you can brush on heavier for a fence or a barn or a boat. A thick, dark, protective coat. And mixed with the linseed oil, it brushes easier and soaks in better. These are the true old finishes used for centuries. Clean and lasting both. Now, let me say the small honest word about why these cheap old wood-saving ways got forgotten while you were sold. The deer-treated lumber and the costly stains. Not to rile you up, just so you see the shape of it. There is good money in the pressure-treated lumber bought at a premium. In the 5-gallon stains at $200 a pail. In the plastic decking at $30 a board. And in the tearing out and rebuilding of fences and decks that were never made to last. And there is no money at all in a man knowing he can cap his fence with a scrap board, char his post bottoms in a fire, choose a locust post, and brush on a little linseed oil and pine tar, all for next to nothing. You cannot patent a roof board, nor a charred post, nor a flame, so nobody advertises these old ways. No business is built on teaching them, and they simply fell out of the common knowing, while the deer products got all the telling. I am not saying a man schemed this. No one had to. It is worse than a conspiracy because it is a system nobody had to coordinate.
It simply pays to sell the treated board and the deer stain again and again, and pays nothing to teach a body the old free ways that make plain wood last a century. And so the old ways went quietly untaught.
The old farmers built fences and barns that outlived them by generations for next to nothing because they had to, and because they knew how. So, there are the old ways to make your outdoor wood last a lifetime and more. And they all come down to keeping the water off and out. Roof and cap your fences and posts so the rain sheds off the top. Slope the ground away from the post base so the water cannot pull against it. Char the bottoms of your posts in a fire to make a rot roof shell. Choose the naturally rot-resistant woods, the locust and cedar and orange for the work. Keep your wood up off the wet ground and give it air and finish it if you finish it with the clean old linseed oil and pine tar, never the poison oils. Do those things, and your fence or your deck will stand sound long after the store-bought one has rotted away for almost nothing the way the old barns still stand. Now I want to hear from you, and I ask honest, because I learn the whole country from these comments. Tell me in the comments below, do you have an old fence or barn or deck on your place that has lasted far beyond its years? And do you know how the old builders treated it? And tell me your county and your climate, because the wet, rainy places rot wood far faster than the dry. And I like to map it by where you all write from. I read everyone. Next time I want to show you the full old way of charring wood to preserve it step by step. How to blacken your posts and boards with fire to that rot roof, water shedding, handsome black finish that lasts 100 years. The genuine ancient method that costs you nothing but a flame. The old people built fences and barns and homes meant to outlast them, to be handed down sound to children and grandchildren. And they made plain wood stand a century against the weather with nothing but their knowing, a roof board, a charred post, the right wood, a brush of linseed oil. There is a deep wisdom in building a thing to last generations rather than to be torn out and replaced. The fence and the barn built to outlive their builder are the ones that remember how the old people made things to last. The people who built this country with their hands knew that, and we are only just starting to remember it.